would like to call today's Economic Development Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please, Amy.
Chair LaPlante.
Here.
Vice Chair Glassy.
Here.
Member Rutledge.
Yes.
Member Covert.
Here.
Member Childress.
Yes.
And Member Yu.
Here.
Great, full committee. I move to approve the minutes from our last meeting from August 15, 2023.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Do we have any public comments?
We do not.
No public comments. Okay. I have lots of chairwoman remarks today. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible because we have a fantastic presentation from Choose DuPage. But I want to talk about this wonderful event that was just kicked off last Friday in partnership with WorkNet DuPage. It was called Back to School, Back to Work. September is National Workforce Development Month, in which states across the country recognize the contributions of workforce professionals like our team at WorkNet DuPage and highlight events and efforts that support job seekers. This month, WorkNet, in partnership with Choose DuPage and College of DuPage, held a special series of workshops called Back to School, well, is holding, we started it on Friday, called Back to School, Back to Work. I love that name, by the way, it's perfect. This series was developed to encourage and support individuals who took time away from work to be stay-at-home parents or caregivers and who are now preparing to start a job search. We know this process can be daunting for those who have not job searched or worked in some time. We also know that our business community needs the talents and abilities of all these potential new employees within our county, so it's vital that we assist and encourage this population along their path to landing employment. The first workshop took place last Friday at WorkNet and was focused on building confidence in creating or updating resumes. There were over 40 parents and caregivers in attendance. It was a full house, as you can see from these pictures. And the energy in the room was amazing. It really was. There, you had, I counted 44. And so there was 43 women and one man.
Four people might not have submitted their half.
There we go, there we go. We were very curious and we were counting, but it was truly a remarkable event. You could see sort of a sense of relief and that these women, these caregivers and parents were able to sit in community with one another and draw on one another's confidence and encouragement, which is probably what my favorite part was. And we gave them lots and lots of encouragement, meaning if you can do what you do, which is stay home and raise children, you can do anything. I firmly believe that. And I think this was the most wonderful way to kick off this series. The feedback from the attendees was overwhelmingly positive. Many individuals shared that it was so impactful seeing how many others were in that room in a similar situation to themselves and feeling similar things. And the sense of not being alone was a significant takeaway in addition to all the practical tips. We expect a full house again this Friday for the second session with many returning attendees from last time, and we are excited to continue the positive momentum. I would also like to give a special shout out to Vice Chair Carrie Galassi because she was the one who brought forth this initiative. And this is exactly what I was hoping when we kicked off this new term, and with myself as Chair of Economic Development, I said, please, bring your ideas, go out into the community, bring your ideas. So this is a fantastic example of that happening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was, you guys,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes, so great. The team was wonderful. That was, I know, Lisa, this was a big, heavy lift, but you guys really knocked it out of the park.
Thank you.
Truly.
Yeah, I was thrilled with how it turned out.
Yeah. Me too, me too.
Thank you guys for being there.
Of course, and I really do believe you're supposed to bring your lived and professional experience and your passions to this role as an elected official. And so this was a great example of that. So again, thank you so much for that. And I encourage anyone else who would like to attend, please show up. It's just a really great kind of feel-good hour. And I just can't wait to hear more success stories about this initiative. Okay, now I'm saving all the rest for Choose DuPage. I'll limit my comments. Moving on to the business at hand. Yes, it's a lot of pressure. You better start, warming up and stretching. Let's go to item number 6, incumbent worker training memos. I move to combine items 6A through 6F. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. And I move to receive items and place on file. 6A 2936 Blue Co Corporation, 6B 232937 Pioneer Service Incorporated, 6C 232938 Fast Right International, 6D, 232939, the Gel Cert Company. 6E, 23-2943, Tulex Corporation. 6F, 23-2984, Cameo Mold Corporation.
Second.
Thank you very much. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Number 7, change orders. 7A, EDCO 323. I move to approve amendment to county contract 62701-0001 serve, issued to Parents Alliance Employment Project to provide services to in-school youth for job training for the Workforce Development Division, to extend the contract through September 30th, 2024, and increase the contract in the amount of $123,925 for a new contract amount of $247,850. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 7B, EDCO 4-23. I move to approve amendment to county contract 628-0001 serve, issued to Parents Alliance Employment Project to provide services to out-of-school youth for job training for the Workforce Development Division, to extend the contract through September 30th, 2024, and increase the contract in the amount of $342,643 for a new contract amount of $635,286. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 7C, EDCO 5-23. I move to approve amendment to county contract 629-001 serve, issued to World Relief to provide job training services to immigrants and youth for the Workforce Development Division, to extend the contract through September 30th, 2024, and increase the contract in the amount of $298,038 for a new contract amount of $488,690. We've had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. 7D, 23-3041. I move to approve Quad County Urban League Incorporated, PO 5780. This purchase order is decreasing in the amount of $294,472.99 and closing due to the purchase order expiring.
Second.
Yes. Member
Curious,
Rutledge.
that's a pretty big amount to decrease. What happened with that? And
Sure. Joan, would you like to answer
I think
this?
Lisa
Or
could
Lisa,
answer that.
sorry, Lisa, can you?
Hi, I'm sorry, you were asking about why that's being reduced
Yeah.
that much?
Yeah.
So we entered into a contract agreement previously with them. They were not able to execute the contract, essentially to recruit enough youth to utilize those funds. And so at some point, because of the lifespan of the grants, you need to reclaim that money
Got
and
it.
use it
Okay.
elsewhere.
Okay,
thanks, Lisa.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We move on to resolutions. 8A, FIR 020923, and move to approve acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Apprenticeship Expansion Grant, PY23, intergovernmental agreement number 23112-006, company 5000, accounting unit 2840 for $125,000. This has been moved and seconded. Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. I move to approve FIR 021023, approval of the issuance of payments by DuPage County to training providers through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Apprenticeship Expansion Grant, PY23, intergovernmental agreement number 23-112006, in the amount of $40,000. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. I move to approve acceptance and appropriation, FIR 021323, move to approve acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Trade Adjustment Assistant Grant, PY21, intergovernmental agreement number 21-661006, company 5000, accounting union 2840 for $10,065.
Second.
Thank you. We've had it moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. I move to approve FIR 0211-23, amendment to resolution EDR 0016-23 for the approval of issuance of payments to training providers through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Trade Adjustment Assistant Grant, PY21, intergovernmental agreement number 21-661006, to increase the grant in the amount of $5,607. Yes, remember you.
I just have a
question. It says it's an amendment to resolution, and they're just adding additional 5,607. Is that what's happening? Because I think it received 10,000 before, right?
So the 10,000 for 8C, the 10,000 is like the total amount, and then the 8D is for specifically for issuance of payments for the training portion, like to the training
Oh,
provider.
the issuance of payments. Okay, thank you.
Okay, that has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. I move to approve FIR 0212-23, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, Grant PY23, Intergovernmental Agreement number 23-681006, Company 5000, Accounting Unit 2840 for $5,151. Oh, excuse me, $5,151,000. I told you I hadn't had enough coffee. Woo, okay, all right, we've got it, right? 5,151,280. We all got it, okay. Did we get a second?
I did.
Thank you, Member Rutledge.
Somebody did.
Motion and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. I move to approve item 8F FIR 0214-23, approval of the issuance of payments by DuPage County to training providers and youth contracts through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, Grant PY23 Intergovernmental Agreement number 23-681006 in the amount of $2,469,232.
Second.
Thank you. We've had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. This motion passes. I move to approve item 8G, FIR 0215-23, acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, Grant PY23, Intergovernmental Agreement number 23-681006, Company 5000, Accounting Unit 2840 for $150,000.
Second.
Thank you. We've had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
This motion, any opposed? This motion passes. Woo! I went as fast as I could. Okay, so I can get to our presentation. May I introduce? Yes, one moment.
quick question.
Okay,
Under one we just approved, for, FR 20212-23. Yeah, I knew you asked me that.
That's 80.
Thank
80,
you.
thank you.
It has in there, it's gonna be administered under the human rights or the human,
resource.
yes. Can you explain that? Why it's going under that versus going under your direction? Human Resource Department's gonna administer it.
So I actually, our Workforce Development Division sits in the Human Resources Department. So Margaret Mason Yu is actually the department head, like my direct supervisor, my direct boss. So we actually are part of Human Resources.
Okay.
But a subdivision. Does that clarify?
Yeah, it's just in small print, and every time I see small print, I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah. The way that we're structured, we actually sit as part of the Human Resources.
Okay, great, thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, without further ado, may I present Mr. Greg Bedeloff, the CEO of Choose DuPage. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Chair LaPlante. Good morning, everybody. I am joined this morning by our private sector co-chair, Glenn Mazzei from Old National Bank, as well as Rita Hockey and Lisa Maselli from our staff who are helping with some of the programs that we're going to go over today. So I'm going to go off of a script in an effort to stay on schedule because I know you all have busy days, but naturally we're happy to take questions along the way. To begin, we believe Choose DuPage is making a difference for the business community throughout the Chicagoland region with a primary focus on DuPage. With your support and the support of the county board, we are continuing to spark commercial collaboration, support diverse business owners, encourage sustainability, promote our region, and plan for our future. And today we're going to ask for your continued support to grow the key programs that you've authorized us to administer. So can I get the next slide, please? Today, we'd like to review 4 Choose DuPage programs, really county programs that you asked Choose DuPage to administer, those being Connect DuPage, Sustainable DuPage, the Business Attraction Marketing Campaign, the feasibility studies, and discuss our recommendations going forward. For each of these initiatives, I'll review the goals and the strategies, the activations, the recommendations, and of course, the financials. Next slide, please. So beginning with Connect DuPage. Connect DuPage is a program designed to build meaningful collaboration amongst a diverse range of DuPage County businesses. The goals of Connect DuPage are to promote commercial collaboration, raise awareness and opportunity for small, minority, and diverse-owned businesses in DuPage County, strengthen the regional supply chain, and help all DuPage businesses achieve their goals. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at how we're bringing this program to life. First, we're helping businesses gain a deeper understanding of their supply chain by providing them with custom industry sector reports. These reports offer valuable data and insights, including employment and workforce data, local supply chain mapping, and more. Plus, it comes with a list of diverse and minority-owned businesses within their supply chain. To date, we've generated over 100 reports for businesses in DuPage County looking to do business with small, women, or minority-owned businesses. Next slide, please. Minority, women, disabled, and veteran-owned businesses can register in our free supplier database to be included in reports provided to other businesses and receive important information about events and resources. Currently, there are 84 businesses, those are minority businesses, that have registered in our portal as a way to do business with other larger businesses throughout the county. Next slide, please. We also provide resources and information to help minority, women, disabled, and veteran-owned businesses begin the certification process. The Resource Center on our website has had nearly 2,500 visits by businesses this year and garnered more than 33,000 impressions through our promotions and communication. And again, this is in an effort to convince that small, minority, woman, veteran-owned business to go through the certification process in order to do more business with local, county, and state government. Next slide, please. Choose DuPage has hosted a number of programs and events designed to foster commercial collaboration, support these diverse businesses, and educate business leaders about supply chain opportunities. This year, we've held 8 events with over 600 participants in total. Actually, over 700. We must have had an event since I got this script and had 115 businesses.
We'll update there for you.
Next slide, please. They always like to keep you on my toes. So what's coming up? Well, we plan to continue our certification seminars for this program, implement additional targeted marketing strategies to grow that supplier database, and develop a how to do business series that includes valuable information from supply and diversity experts, similar to the one that we did here at DuPage, along with one that we did recently for Argonne. And I know we're planning on one for the Illinois Tollway to help the DuPage County businesses do business with these governmental or larger entities. Next slide, please. So the financials, the county allocated $75,000 for this program. We've expended just over $65,000 with $9,000 remaining. These costs have been shared with county financial staff, as all of our costs always are for all of these programs, to ensure ARPA eligibility, because my recollection is that these programs were funded out of ARPA funds. The program is scheduled to run through December 31st, 2024. As you see there, we have also received, I think this is important to note, we had a Choose DuPage board member learn about this program who made a voluntary contribution of $11,000 to renew our subscription to the database that we use to register the minority-owned businesses, as it aligned very nicely with their mission and their goals and their objectives. Program is up and running, and it has great staying power to this point. Next slide, please. Our recommendation for Connect DuPage include additional funding from DuPage County upon the conclusion of the program. So remember, this one goes through 2024 in the amount of $50,000, which will help us continue the Connect DuPage project and benefit small and diverse businesses across the region. We will continue to partner with the College of DuPage Apex Accelerator Program to guide DuPage County businesses for certification assistance. So those are the folks that we're using to help with the certification program. And we will continue to collaborate with our friends at Innovation DuPage to facilitate a cohort program centered on our diverse suppliers. Together, we will help transition from operators to CEOs, kind of the owner to CEO program that Innovation DuPage is doing so well. Next slide. So now I'll review Sustainable DuPage. As more and more businesses are making it part of their mission to practice sustainability, Choose DuPage and the DuPage County Environmental Division, most notably Joy Hins, thank you for being here this morning, Joy, Launch Sustainable DuPage to connect leaders to resources that promote sustainable practices and help organizations efficiently and effectively reduce their environmental footprint. Next slide, please. So let's look at some of the ways that we're doing this. We partnered with the DuPage County Environmental Staff and the University of Illinois' Smart Energy Assistance Center, CDAC, to conduct green business assessments to provide businesses with a custom plan to become more sustainable while reducing costs. So far this year, we've had 5 companies to commit to going through this assessment. Next slide, please. We've also developed a Sustainable DuPage toolkit. This online resource helps businesses make progress towards sustainability. This year, the online toolkit has had over 600 page views. I'm just checking to make sure the slide is the same as my script, and 19,000 impressions through our promotions and communications, getting the message out to the business community about the toolkit and the sustainability opportunities. Next slide, please. We have hosted 3 educational events this year to date with 58 total participants. Next slide, please. We are continuing to conduct green business assessments and have plans to recognize participants and develop case studies. We think it's really important to get some case studies on the books to share with the other businesses. We also plan to host additional workshops and webinars on a variety of topics related to sustainability, and we're creating a green business scoring metric and checklist that DuPage businesses can use to assess their environmental impact and identify areas for opportunity. Next slide, please. We were granted $97,500 to run this program. To date, we have expended about half of those funds, primarily through the contractual agreement that we signed with the University of Illinois for the CDAC assistance. We anticipate more companies signing up for assessments, which will expend the remainder of the funds that CDAC and the University of Illinois have been contracted to provide for us. Unlike Connect DuPage, this program is scheduled to end November 30th of 2023. Next slide, please. So our recommendation for this program is if the county would like to see this program continue into 2024, recognizing that although if you went back to the last slide, you'll see that we've only expended a portion of the funds. As we do more assessments, those funds will be depleted. We're going to recommend an additional $60,000 from the county, which will allow us to extend our Sustainable DuPage program through 2024, benefiting businesses and communities across the region. In other words, this was a one-year program that we decided to try to see how it works. We've had great business engagement, that a number of businesses sign up, and we're raising awareness. It's really a policy decision from you all as to whether or not you want to continue the program. Next slide, please. So now I want to update you on our business attraction marketing campaign. Next slide, please. The goals of this campaign are to promote DuPage County as a safe place to conduct and operate a business. That was one of the ARPA requirements. You remember, any marketing had to have a safety component associated with it. Continue to establish DuPage as a premier global business location, raise awareness, and promote commercial real estate available in DuPage County. Next slide, please. To accomplish this, our marketing strategy is largely focused on content marketing that will generate awareness, consideration, and engagement among businesses looking to move or expand in DuPage. Then we promote the content across paid advertising and communication channels. So this money is going to other entities from a paid marketing perspective. Next slide, please. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Next slide, please. First, we've continued to expand our communication channels and have produced a podcast in conjunction with College of DuPage about key Chicagoland business issues and topics of interest that position DuPage as a premier global business location. Our first 3 episodes have featured local experts and entrepreneurs discussing local development, workplace innovation, and resources for DuPage businesses, and have shockingly, but pleasingly, we've reached over 1,500 listeners on our first 3 podcasts. I hope you're one of them. If you have listened, if you haven't listened, please check them out on Spotify or anywhere you download your local favorite podcast. Next slide, please. We continue to produce digital and social content that tell the story of DuPage that you're all familiar with. This includes business features highlighting the region's industries, businesses and key advantages, community spotlights that promote what makes DuPage a great place to live, work, and do business. For instance, I believe we're doing one on Addison coming up, and we're trying to focus more at the municipal level and get really granular. As well as a variety of reports like our annual project report and economic indicator report that I know I shared with you in the past that talked about where DuPage County placed amongst the over 3,000 counties in the United States regarding new project development. Next slide, please. We then promote this content and other strategic messages about DuPage County across a variety of paid advertising channels. Again, you're going to continue to hear me say paid advertising channels, which is something we've never done before. We've always kind of relied on organic social media. But now, because of this, we're able to go targeted display ads, search engine optimization, the Urban Land Institute, Midwest Real Estate News, BizNow Milwaukee, BizNow Indianapolis. So when we gather this information, we're able to determine where the hits are coming from and then focus our efforts back into those communities. Next slide, please. And we're seeing great results with this strategy. Our website visits are up 42% compared to our average, and we're seeing increased engagement on our website, as this somewhat busy slide shows you, as well as other communication channels such as social media and email. One thing I'd like to report out on this slide is the report downloads. You see that number 327. That's 327 people who have provided their contact information and are seeking more information about doing business in DuPage County. You cannot download the report the way we have the system set up unless you share that information with us so that we're able to do a direct outreach back to that business. Next slide, please. So the county allocated $750,000 for this initiative, which was to be split between Choose DuPage and our friends at the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau. The Choose DuPage portion is $288,000, with the remainder going to the CVB, with whom I want to state clearly, we always have and always will continue to work collaboratively on our marketing messages. But as for this program, we had to do a defined split of how much money should go to the CVB and how much money should come to Choose DuPage. So our portion again was $288,000, of which we have expended just over $87,000 for all of that you previously saw. I and we at Choose DuPage really want to have these funds last as long as possible through the expiration of the ARPA guidelines in terms of when you can use the funds. So we're not spending, you might say, well, geez, you only spent $87,000 of the $288. This is a multi-year effort in an effort to make it last as long as possible. Thus the relatively low amount of the total that we've expended, but be assured it's a 3-year plan and those funds will be expended by the end of the year, or by the end of the term. Next slide, please. And lastly, an update on our feasibility study. The 2 feasibility studies that Choose DuPage is administering on behalf of the county to determine the possibility of constructing a sports complex and or a performing arts center in DuPage. Next slide, please. It's a quick timeline because there's not a ton to report here. For both studies, the RFP was published on July 14th of this year. On August 1st, we hosted a pre-bid information webinar for interested contractors. The responses to the RFPs were due on August 21st. We received 5 responses for the RFP, and they are now under evaluation via Zoom interviews and further contact and further follow-up with those consultants that submitted the RFP. We hope to have a decision made on a consultant within 30 to 60 days. It just kind of depends on how the rest of the interviews flow. And I'm happy to report that the consultants that we've talked to date, that not only have their submittals been fantastic, but the interviews have been fantastic. It's going to be a challenge to make a decision because everything has been very positive. Next slide, please. On the budget on this. So you all allocated $270,000 for this, $20,000 for Choose DuPage to administer it, and $250,000 that goes to the consultants. So we've expended just less than $3,000. That was to spin up the information and push the information out there. Some staff time associated with this, with the remaining funds of $267,000 and change. And I'm happy to report that even if we went with the highest bidder for performing arts and the highest bidder for the sports, will come in significantly. And I know this kind of makes Anybody from finance here? I know it kind of makes finance's head explode, but we're gonna kind of, because this is ARPA funds as well, it's gonna come in under budget. We're not, unless we add something to the scope of service, I don't anticipate that we will expend the entirety of those funds. So I think that is my last slide, and I'll conclude by just saying thank you for trusting Choose DuPage to administer these programs. These are policy decisions for you all to make right now in terms of what the next steps are. It's been a privilege to work on these programs. It's kept our staff and our board members busy, and we're happy to continue. You know, we're still doing our blocking and tackling. We talked about the fact that we finished 9th in 2022 out of 3,200 counties throughout the United States in terms of new projects. We still have new businesses that we're talking to on a regular basis. And this has really been an absolute treat for staff and me to take economic development to the next level for DuPage County. Happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful.
Or defer the questions to anybody.
Yeah. I actually have 2 questions this morning. Can we go back to the busy slide as you said that?
I don't control the clicker, so. I don't even.
You thought you had control, huh? Right. Well, then I'll ask my second question. So I want to see, because you had I just caught as you flipped off the hits from other states.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see that because I'm tired of that. Oh my God, everybody's leaving Illinois in droves narrative. So I want to hear where I want to see where they're coming from.
25.
Yeah.
No, it's Iowa.
Yeah, it's on Missouri. Okay, all right. Thank you for that. And then my other question is, got some success stories to share about the Sustainable DuPage
For
initiative?
Joy and Rita, because they are
Yeah.
managing that program for us. Can I answer your first question? Or
Yeah,
comment
absolutely.
on your first question? So when we see traffic coming to our website from Texas or from Illinois or from another state, we then shift our marketing paid content. So we're buying ads. We're going out there and we're purchasing media. And when we determine that the incoming traffic is from a state, our outgoing dollars then get shifted appropriately to those states because there must be an interest there.
Excellent, thanks. That's what marketing does, people.
We try.
Let me just say that.
So as far as Sustainable DuPage goes, we're actually doing our 6th intake this afternoon. So that's exciting. We ended up doing 6 different industries, which really wasn't the original plan, but again, exciting. And part of what's going on with the budget, we're dealing in the university system, so they don't bill until they finish. And so those case studies are going to be our success. And she told me like next week, the first one should roll out and then they'll keep rolling out. So
Great.
we have no formal success yet,
Okay,
but they are all coming.
thanks for the progress.
Sure.
Yes.
First of all, you know, I'm a huge supporter of your whole team, so thank you for all that you do. I just had a couple questions and I took notes, and it was from the Connect DuPage presentation at the beginning. I'm just curious, there's been a huge increase, and I forgot to write the number down here, of how many businesses you have certified in the program. Are they
Registered in our portal, small women, minority-owned businesses who have registered in the portal, making themselves available to hospital systems, the county, anybody, any business that has a defined or undefined corporate social responsibility program or a minority buying goal. The intent is to connect those businesses with those minority suppliers.
Okay, perfect. So similar, remember Rutledge's question, do you have any success stories of people who are now registered that have reported back that they've seen an increase in, you know,
We're
in
at that
sales
phase
or?
now. We're
Okay.
trying to get those in a written, more like testimonial.
Okay, yeah.
But I can tell you for our RBO, the Regional Business Outlook event, we did use one of the registered vendors as our photographer.
Oh.
So, you know, you gotta start at home. So that's how we started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. I just.
My ultimate goal, Member Galassi, I said it when you guys authorized this program, creating this database and connecting with the larger employers and mid-sized employers in DuPage County with the minority-owned businesses is absolutely critical. And it's really the foundational stuff. It's really the blocking and tackling. I will stand up and cheer that this program is a knockout, flat out success when we're able to take a minority-owned business through the certification process. And we have our board stand up, ready to volunteer their time and their talent from a legal perspective, from a financial perspective, to help those businesses, because it's a big leap of faith, it's a big time commitment, and it can be a financial commitment to ask a business who is a minority-owned business, but is not certified, to go through that certification process. And now that the program is up and running, and now that we're going to show the success stories, and now that we have the connectivity, you got to show people the proof when we're doing these events with the Illinois Tollway. And we did one with Argonne. Argonne's dying to do business, but nobody knows how to do business with Argonne, especially smaller businesses. But if you're a certified minority-owned business, there's so much opportunity for you at places like Argonne. So
Okay,
that's ultimately what we're working towards.
okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for your work on that initiative. And then my next question is kind of a similar question. You said you had 327 downloads of people, requesting for additional information. Do you have any success stories of those turning into?
Can you wait a week?
Yes, of
We're
course.
gonna, we're gonna make a couple of major announcements
Okay,
about businesses that have relocated or located, expanded in DuPage County, and then hopefully within the next 30 days. These things get really sensitive in terms of employees, and if word leaks.
Yeah.
So we have to follow their protocol.
Okay.
I had hoped to have a couple of them ready, not only for the chair's budget speech coming up, but for this meeting. But the business has said, Greg, you gotta sit on it.
okay. Well, I will be anxiously awaiting that exciting news. I have no doubt you've had a lot of success. Okay, and then my final question is, for the feasibility study, you said 30 to 60 days before you select the vendor. Once that's been selected, how long do you anticipate the process taking to get those back?
The general the good news about the feasibility study and the interviews that we've had with the consultants is that the majority have said, we are going to give you a go, no-go recommendation, kind of a two-phased approach. So rather than going through here's where you should build it, here's what it should look like, here's what it'll cost, here's how you should operate it, they've all said our first step, and I think it's fair to say that all of them presented that option. And that go, no-go would probably be, I'm gonna be generous and say 180 days, somewhere between 4 and 6 months, where they will then come to us and say, there is a there for either sports or performing arts, so we'll go on to phase 2. But they've all said, we may reserve the right to tell you, sorry, there is no there. Therefore, end of study, we're done, thank you very much. And what we're really pleased with regarding that is the way they broke down their proposals. The cost is associated accordingly. So if we go to phase 2, there's gonna be more dough. We stop at phase 1, we can't get past that first toll gate. Now, I will tell you that the interviews, I don't think I'm talking out of school, the interviews that we've had with all but one of the consultants, they've all shared that based on their preliminary review, they think there is a there.
Yeah.
For both sports and performing
I want
arts.
to know the
Yeah.
percentage.
We made a
Yeah.
very noted point of letting people know that we're agnostic on the feasibility study. We're not going into the feasibility study with any preconceived notions. So you have to tell us. And they've already indicated that they believe, I don't know if that was going to be your question, but
Well, I wanted to know what the percentage of, that.
yeah, they've all
You think
said,
they'll
that-
all say it's not gonna.
It changes for each one, because I've asked that question every time, and they have different parameters of what they say in terms of breakdowns, right?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, we just are looking for the datas and the facts, and however those are presented, that's what it is. Yes, remember you.
Thank you. I have 2 questions. So you had said earlier that 84 suppliers had registered. Can you just tell me around what business sectors? You mentioned photography, but are there other categories
Yeah.
that these businesses fall
So
under?
I have engineering, architecture, coffee shops, couple manufacturers. So it's a nice wide range.
Okay,
of
great.
businesses.
sure
We can share.
can generate the list and email it to
Oh,
you.
interesting.
You
Okay,
can
great.
see all
That
84.
would be wonderful, thank you. And then my second question has to do with Sustainable DuPage. you had mentioned that there were 5 businesses you've done intake, and you're doing a 6th one. What is your measure of success? If they adopt everything in the toolkit, is it just that they're engaged in this, a sustainable interest? How do you measure when you say, oh, they're going to do one thing, that's great, or they're doing 5 things,
So we have kind of presented it as there's no requirements, right? Because if we didn't do that, we wouldn't get the engagement in reality. So my thought is we would go back 6 months, kind of check in, see where they are. Because the checklist they will get is detailed. Literally, we've taken 3 hours at one site. It's going to be very detailed. Any incentives and rebates, which they're all excited that they're given the roadmap to that. They know it's out there, but they don't know where to go find it. And then kind of the low hanging fruit to the more expensive. So I could perceive we'll go back, do a check-in, maybe give them 6 months, and then our successes will come out of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Member Thompson.
One question and one comment. The $60,000 for the sustainability, how did you guys decide on U of I guess, is doing it? Did we not have some college locally that could have accommodated what you guys needed?
U of I is local. They have a DuPage
You
County
know,
presence, and I know there's others,
you know
but.
what I'm saying.
So for the CDAC, they're really, there was no comparable locally to connect because they are working in the business and have been. As far as they have, what's it called, Illinois Green Certification.
Incorrect. They have the Illinois Green
Yeah.
Business Program. They're part of the Smart Energy Design Assistance. That CDEX is actually this one. Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot the camera.
I'm getting the kink in my neck.
So the state of Illinois actually uses CDAC and the University of Illinois for a lot of their programs. There is no university nonprofit that actually operates in DuPage County with a similar program. CDAC is, again, recognized by the state of Illinois. The Green Business Program is a subsidiary of their program, and they actually are keyed into a national green business certification program. So actually a very valuable.
And the benchmarks they look at businesses are local, regional, and national.
Great.
To give them the broader perspective.
And you talked about community, and I think that's a very, very important part because people that live in DuPage like to support DuPage and promote DuPage. And I noticed a lot of your marketing is online and interaction is online. However, we're missing a whole nother market. I'm in real estate, so you have to tap into every market. There's radio service now that, has been around forever, but there are those loyal listeners that don't know about what we have to offer in DuPage. So I would highly recommend that we get somebody on radio to talk about what DuPage, Choose DuPage is doing and what options, how they can be engaged. Even if you even just are promoting the website, it's another venue of people that aren't going to be the ones that are going to be online.
Yeah, if I could add, we also get billboard.
You gotta stand, you gotta stand if you're gonna talk to this.
Come
You gotta be willing, you have to be willing to face the music when you talk to this group.
We also have billboard advertising at Hamilton Lakes in Itasca, which is free. So that's we put up a lot of our programs. I think Connect DuPage has been advertised up there. So it's great free advertising for us as well.
Wonderful. Okay, any other questions?
Such a magic word.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you.
I really appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Greg.
That's wonderful. Moving on to old business, I'm going to just reiterate, please pay attention to the upcoming WorkNet event. What I would like to do is send everyone on the committee something that they can share on social media about that. So please check your emails for that. Okay, you know what? We'll send it to the whole board. How about that? Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. And word of mouth is huge. And like I said at the event, I've been lucky enough to have a career where I could still always keep a toe in while I am raising my 4 kids. So I always worked part-time. And what I told those women is, what I used to call it when I'd go to work? Vacation. Because it is hard. And so if you can raise 4 kids, however many kids, you have skills that employers are looking for. So this is a real passion of mine to help working moms. So let's all spread this word because I think this is the start of something really amazing. So thank you. Any new business?
I just want to add on to what you're
Yeah.
saying. This week's topic is technology, correct?
Right, yeah, job search in a digital world, how to use the internet essentially to job search.
Which I think is so, so many of us that stopped working 20 years ago, LinkedIn didn't exist, none of the social media platforms existed. So I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation on Friday.
Yeah, I still can't really, even if you've been in, it's still, I would love a little course on how do you really maximize LinkedIn or
Yeah.
something like that. So good for everyone, I'm sure.
True, yeah, we have a great panel for this too, so
Okay.
it'll be exciting.
Wonderful. Well, we'll send that out so everyone has a chance to share it and learn more. Any other new business? Oh, yes.
If I
Go
may.
ahead, Lisa. Yes.
I just want to make the committee aware, so today you accepted our full allocation of $5,151,000. So as I'm sure everybody is keenly aware, in Washington DC right now, there is an impasse brewing over a continuing resolution and or a federal budget. And there will be ramifications to our funding that result from any kind of impasse there. So I just want to make everyone aware that this is going to affect us. I am doing, believe me when I say I'm working diligently, sometimes even in the middle of the night, talking about how to kind of, manage this transitionary period if there is a significant delay. I've been in touch with the budget and planning manager at DCO multiple times on this to seek guidance from the state. So naturally, you will all be kept informed as this progresses, but I just want to make sure that everyone's aware that that's going to affect us.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Yes. Member
This
Gibson.
seems to be a pattern of conduct. I mean, my husband works for the federal government, and every year when the budget comes, it's always, we're not gonna pass the budget, we're not gonna pass the budget. I wonder if there's a way to strategically have your budget kind of prepare for potentially 2 or 3 months where they're fighting and bickering.
We historically do that because we have carryover from the previous year's grant. However, because we're almost doing too good of a job at outreach and making people aware. We've been serving large numbers of people, particularly out of our grant that serves people with the most barriers, people that are income eligible. And so you're kind of trying to walk this line of not bringing things to a screeching halt, continue to serve people and not put their lives on hold while knowing that this is kind of looming. So this was like the first year, ironically, that we didn't carry over a tremendous amount from last year's grant because we've been utilizing it. So fingers crossed, they will reach, that's why I had an extra laugh when you said 5,000. I was like, no.
Yeah. We need every dollar.
At least it was gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, I was like,
making sure you were paying attention. Good job. Yes.
I had asked you last week, as I shared it on social media, the post with regard to each of the workshops. Do you know if it's completely full at this point, or do you still have room?
it essentially is full. We aimed to register like 75 to 80 people per session because we knew that would probably yield like 40 to 50 people in the room, which is comfortable. We could still have tables in there and so forth. So it's pretty much, and you guys saw it, we asked who's going to be attending the next session on past Friday, and like basically everybody raised their hand. So I think it is more or less at capacity. We could probably take a few more individuals.
Can they zoom in?
For this one, we did not do the Zoom option because we really wanted it to have that in-person kind of sense. And we thought there was going to be that, like, most people are just going to defer to having it on in the background when they're in their kitchen or whatever. And I think that there was tremendous value in that. Moving forward, if we do this again, I'm sure we will likely do this again next year. Our thought is to maybe make it Zoom accessible through our partnership with all the local libraries. It would be accessible then to people, that maybe are a little bit further spread out throughout the county. So we're exploring that, but we wanted this to kind of have that camaraderie.
Probably gonna need a bigger room at some point, judging by Friday, right?
Yes.
And the success of this.
I need a bigger boat.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Lisa.
you.
Any other new business?
Yes. Just one
of course.
last comment, since I'm sitting here thinking, as I typically do after you ask your questions, which are all great, about success stories. One of the other things that we're going to come in front of you about at some point is GSEP, the Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership, another program that you all funded. We just simply couldn't cover it in today's meeting. But I do want to let you know that one of the deals that we're going to announce in a couple of weeks came from World Business Chicago through GSEP. And I'm almost sheepish to say it. Choose DuPage had nothing to do with it. And it's a corporate headquarter relocation from Michigan that's coming into DuPage County that came through Chicago, which is going to be over 100 jobs. And prior to GSEP, it never would have happened because Chicago would have put it in their back pocket and we never would have heard about it. So when we talk about success stories and collaboration and that kind of stuff, I just kind of wanted to plant that seed and that little teaser that the investment in GSEP is already starting to pay off with success stories and measurable businesses. Thanks.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, seeing no further new comments, I move to adjourn today's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, this meeting is adjourned. See you next month. Thank you. Great.